Women and girls play a crucial role in the development of any nation, but they are most affected when crisis hits. Women and girls are affected from increased risk of gender-based violence to the loss of life and livelihood opportunities. Limited healthcare services and limited water, sanitation and hygiene put women and girls more at risk as it hampers their ability to manage their specific needs. Closing this financing gap is crucial to empowering women as entrepreneurs and unlocking their potential for contributing to the nation's development.
Our global economic system is failing women how? Financial inclusion. Financial investment in women remains alarmingly low. An additional $360 billion annually is needed to achieve SDG 5.
In Nigeria, women are left behind, especially in politics. Women's representation in Nigerian politics has been on the downward slide since 2011 and the 2023 elections. And in the recent, only 9 women made it to President Tinubu's cabinet, which many say is reasonable compared to what was obtained in the past.
Apart from the youth that have suddenly picked an interest in politics now, women have always been the largest number of people that normally vote. And unfortunately, we always get the back end of the stick. The Nigerian mentality of putting women in positions have not really been fully exercised.
A friend of mine recently went for election and she was voted out because she's a woman, and it was given to a man, and it was clear that she won, but she was voted out. Why? Because they wanted to give it to a man.
The theme for this year's commemoration of the International Women's Day, Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress, is aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals 5. But how far has Nigeria gone in achieving this feat for its women and girls? Investing in women and girls is not only a matter of social justice, but also a smart economic decision that can yield remarkable benefits for societies at large. Helen Osamede-Ekins, TVC News, Abuja.
For joining us to talk more on some of the issues highlighted in that report, especially on women's participation in governance, is journalist and public affairs analyst Funmi Komolafe. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
And joining us via Zoom from Imo State is Director General, Imo Broadcasting Corporation, Ife Onyebule. Ife, good morning. It's good to have you join us. All right, if you will join us as soon as you can. But let me come to you. First of all, happy International Women's Day.
I wish you the same. We're in it together.
Right.
Yeah, I'm wishing you the same as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, talk to us. We've been on this matter year in, year out. We talk about participation of women, women inclusion, and all of that, what government must do. But how far have we come as a country with the matter of creating a better reality for our women?
Well, if we look at the statistics today about women in government, it's nothing to write home about. But I even want to look beyond women in government.
Okay.
It is very good that we have women in government, but they must be in positions that can influence policies. I'm talking of women in executive positions. I'm looking forward to us having an elected female governor. I'm not talking of the one that has replaced the governor that is removed. That's not what I'm talking about. And I'm not talking of a deputy governor. I'm talking of executive positions in which we have a female governor, a female president. It's not impossible. It has happened in other climes. It can happen here. And you find that in some organizations, yes, we have women as chief executives. Let's be honest, not all have done us proud. Some have not. And that should be expected because it's the other way, it's the same way with the other gender as well. But my concern is even about more issues that affect women. I think today I'm very happy because I feel that I have seen that the issue of domestic violence, especially against women, has been raised high in our country. And it is being seriously dealt with. There are several other issues that needs to be addressed, social issues. We shouldn't just look at the political offices that we occupy. Yes, it is important, but sometimes we can have a lot of influence even with the men on the seats. You understand? For instance, if you are talking about child labor, it begins, the statistics show that more of the children involved are girls. And that's where it starts from. Discrimination, victimization, all sorts of things start from there. And it is the girl that becomes the lady, it is the lady that becomes the woman. So I think we should have a broader perspective of issues that affect women. Some governors, even as men, are doing well. Some have extended maternity leave. Some have introduced free antenatal treatment in hospitals.
Right.
You know, several, it differs from state to state, but some don't even care. Some don't have anything specific for women. So I'm thinking that we should also concentrate on the economic and social issues that affect women negatively. It's not only political office. Political office is good. But for instance, a woman in the Senate, a woman in the House of Rep, I mean, how much can they do apart from empowerment and all that? How many of them have been able to influence their state governments to do X, Y, Z things for women?
These are critical questions.
So in light of that, that's because oftentimes, year in, year out, in fact, more than one time in a year, we talk about, the role of women and why they should allow them to represent the people and then, be in informed positions and all of that. What exactly would you consider the barrier, that women face in order to attain this, lofty heights, which men are said to be dominating based on the patriarchal system that we grew up to know?
Yeah, a lot of barriers, cultural, religious, social. Look at what is going on now in some parts of our country. Most of the children that have been lured away or frightened away from Western education are girls. The people that bandits, Boko Haram take away, they are girls. And their destiny, let me put it that way, is being truncated. How far they can go is being truncated with all these type of things. This insecurity. There are still people today who still believe that women shouldn't go far. There's a limit to which you should educate a woman. And in all honesty, whether it is Islam, whether it is Christianity, I do not know any religion that says that women should be suppressed. There's no such religion. That is the truth. But human beings now decide to act in their own way. There are people,
the culture.
Yeah, maybe culture. They hide under religion. Religion is so flexible that you can twist it to suit exactly what you want, even though that's not what the scriptures tell you. So we still have those barriers, and I think we need to educate our men more, honestly, because they take in the home, who is the head of the home? Is the man. So I think we need, in our desire to attain our goals, to put women where they should be. We need a lot of education for the men, and not much is being done in that area. And for as long as we don't do that, and they occupy more political positions, then we will be suppressed. We will not be allowed to move as high as we want to move.
All right. Here we have the Director General, Imo Broadcasting Corporation, Ife Onyegbule, joining us now. Ife, good morning. Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day. I've been listening to the conversation that we're having with Funmi.
Could you speak up, please? We can barely hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, when you lifted your earpiece, we could hear you. Maybe you'd have to do that
Okay.
again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for having me on.
Right. Now, we were asking Funmi here in the studio how far we have come with creating that conducive environment for our women, especially in terms of inclusion, and then what are the barriers she has seen. And she pointed to the matter of we're not educating men enough. Perhaps your perspective differs with how far we have come and what the barriers truly are.
Yes, I would like to, talk about some of the things that Funmi has actually reeled out. We've mentioned quite a lot. We talked about some of the barriers, which I truly agree to. We also spoke about the fact that Nigeria actually needs women who are into office. I agree with that bias that she raised, where you only see women moving when a governor is off or the court removes the governor and you find out a woman steps in. Yes, the time has come for women to actually step forward and say, look, I need to be counted. I need to have this conversation. And I'm glad with the theme of this year's celebration and the woman.
All right, we'll definitely come back to you if we can't really, or we can barely hear what you are saying. But let's come back. She was trying to touch on the theme for the year, talking about count her in, invest in women, accelerate progress. I wonder what you see from this theme when we're talking about count her in, invest in women to accelerate progress. It seems that we are not seeing how the inclusion of women and investing in them is critical to the progress we make as a society. What really is the missing link? Because we've been having these conversations, and I'm wondering why we are still not seeing the essence for investing in women, and that it is important that we make progress if we do that.
Yeah, it's important that we invest in women, and that's why I'm saying that it is equally important to educate the men. Who does this investment? In the home, most homes, the man is the head of the home. He is the breadwinner. He sets the pace or the direction that which the family takes. You understand?
Right.
So you need to get the man convinced that the girl child is not inferior to the boy child. You know, here in Nigeria, in some cultures, if a man should have daughters alone, he doesn't have a child as far as they are concerned. So we need to change that mindset so that men can feel that, look, when I have girls, I have children.
Absolutely.
And they can attain any heights. Women have become Supreme Court judges. They have gone far. In every profession, women have risen. Perhaps part of the fear that men have is that the name drops. I will not want to mention a particular person who said, look, yes, these girls, they are married. I've invested in them. Now they drop my name. They are taking another man's name. I said, but you are a grandfather. I said, yes, but whose grandfather? They answered the name of that man, not my own. And I trained these girls. I know what I did to send them to school. Now they are married. And I'm talking of a well-educated man who is even gender sensitive, honestly. But that thing is a pain in his heart. That's why he was sharing it with me, because it's a personal friend. He said, look, these girls have gone. And I invested a lot. I said, yes, but the children are still yours. He said, I wait for my grandson through the men. You understand? So again, there's a problem here. Some men are large-hearted enough to say, you can combine your father's name with my father's name. And you see in such homes, I know a man, and this is from the East, all girls. And the husband agreed that use a compound name. I think that gets the man fulfilled.
Right. Right. I understand that Ifeanyi Egbule is actually back. And I would like to, ask this question because oftentimes we talk about gender equality, and then again we hear gender parity, and now we also talk about gender equity. Exactly where do we stand, or what exactly should we amplify the more, and how can men help the women, raise their voices?
All right. For me, I've never, looked away from the idea of equity. I don't know if you can get to hear me now. Equity is the way to go because everyone is human. I don't believe in people giving women things. And I always say that for every woman who's worth her salt and you want to get into politics, I always say to you, get in the mud. If you have to get in the mud and play just like the men. No one is going to give you anything. You've got to step out there and get what it is that you want. If you say they put meetings at night, you make out time to go for those meetings. You've got to find a man who supports what it is you're doing and is able to take you to where they have these meetings. We need to move beyond that realm where people say the men will have to help the women. No one is going to help anyone. No one is coming out to help you. You've got to get out there, get what it is that you deserve, and of course, lend your voice. So for me, equity is the issue here, and we need to find a way to bridge the gap. Yes, when you look at it today, you don't have too many women in leadership positions, but I tell you, we're trying, we're getting there. The women are moving up. I also want to give some of the governors the credit. Time was when you wouldn't find women, in some of the executive councils. But today, women have stepped up. The governors have said, look, we need to include these women on this table where we have conversations that have to do with them. So I need for us to look away from that area. Remember, at some point they say you have to give women forms if they need to get into politics. Don't give me a form. Let me buy the form. When you spend money to get something, it worth all of the things that you can think of to you. So it's about coming out, playing in the field.
But
like
there are those who would say that giving the form for free was a way of encouraging women to participate.
I do not agree. I've never agreed, Veronica. That's the truth. You don't have to give. It looks like you're saying, okay, let's just give it to you and try. Let me play in the same place, the same field where the men are playing. So it means that you have to work extra hard. I've always said to people also, as a woman, you've got to work 10 times harder than any other person before people get to reckon with you. So I'm saying, if you need to save up, if you need to work hard to make that money, get out there, buy your form, compete like every other person. Now, when you lose, don't say you have lost because you're a woman. You have lost maybe because you did not play the game well. Remember, politics is about numbers. It's a game of numbers. And for you to get into governance, it's not child's play, like I say to people. It's not a piece of cake. You must have what it takes.
But we've seen women who have tried. We've seen women who have, tried to play in that setting. Do you think that they are actually learning the lessons? Because when you talk about playing in the mud, women are the ones who go about championing the cause for these men, going door to door, campaigning. The men practically ride on the backs of these women to achieve what they want to achieve. So I would say, or I think, that women play in the mud. But are they positioning themselves for these roles that they want? Are they learning lessons and re-strategizing?
I would say no, they're not learning the lessons. I wonder why that is. And when we talk about things like this, I need us to also look away from the fact that we keep focusing on the men. Tell the men to let the women do this. No one's going to let you do anything. As women, we need to understand what our strength means when we talk about numbers. You just talked about the women filing behind the men. They're the ones chanting. They're the ones who come out in their beautifully tied gilly and all of that. Colorful. When it has to do with the men, you're supporting them, you're drumming support for them. Why can't you do that for the women who come out to say, I want to run for this elective position? And that's where I want to bring the issue of godmothers now. What are you doing as a very rich woman with all the means that you have? How many women have you called to say, look, I think you can do this. I want to support you. I'm going to stand behind you like the Rock of Gibraltar, and I will support you all through. And when you lose out, you go back and try. There are men who have tried and tried and tried. How many times did our former president run for office before he finally became president? I'm talking about President Muhammadu Buhari. You've got to learn how to fail, because failure is that step that takes you closer to the success that you're looking for. And I think women need to begin to think about this. And I'm glad the conversations are happening. People are collaborating. Women are collaborating now as it is, because you cannot do it by yourself. You need to come together and use the power of numbers.
Right. Let me come to the studio very quickly. And I love the fact that she said women need to get into the mud and then get themselves out and do better in order to attain that,
And then
height.
she mentioned something, godmothers.
It's interesting.
but then, the world is in a turbulent time. In the face of insecurity, nose-diving economy, problems here and there, abductions and all of that. And we need someone who is strong to do this. How do you think the women folks actually have what it takes to, steer the world into the right direction and, fight against some of this scourge we're facing?
Not when they are not in executive political positions. Right now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When they get there.
Yeah, when they get there. But right now they are not there. Only a few are not in this country. So let's localize it, starting from Nigeria. They are not there. The best you have are the first ladies, wives of governors. That's the best you have. And
There's a limit to what they can do.
because there's no constitutional rule for them. So what they are doing is merely supportive. And recently somebody went to court to question how much was budgeted for the office of the first lady. So you're going to have such issues. And when you talk about godmother, I thought that this society does not condemns godfatherism. So if you condemn godfatherism, why will you tolerate godmotherism? It's although I have a different perspective on these issues, as far as I'm concerned, somebody must lift somebody up. Whether you call him godfather or godmother, whatever name you call them, somebody must lift somebody up positively. So I think, yes, I agree, we need such people. But at the same time, I think I share the view that it is to encourage, to start from a point. Yes, why not give them forms? How many women can afford those forms that run into millions? You'd rather do something else with your money. You'd rather secure your future, the future of your children with that kind of money, if you have it, than go and throw it in the murky waters of politics.
Really?
Yes.
But the men are doing it.
The men are doing it. The way the men assess their sources of income, it's not the way the women do it. Although some women are matching men for everything.
Shoulder to shoulder.
Whether for corruption, whether for ill-gotten wealth, whether for anything, they are there too.
Right. Very quickly, Ify, I think we're running out of time. But Ify, I'm quite iffy actually about the way we talk about the issue of women, gender parity. You're looking amazing, but all the same, sometimes I always make a joke out of it, like women are beginning to feel like endangered species. TVC is different when it comes to representing women. We've got women in all spheres of it. Veronica is here; she's leading this production, and we also have women as a news director. We have women. TVC announced recently women as a CEO after recently announcing women as a director of TVC, entertainment. So women are beginning to feel like endangered species. How do you help us?
No, you shouldn't feel endangered. We've been in that position for donkey years.
You see?
So this is the time for women to come to the fore. Funmi just talked about women, Nigerian women who are holding positions outside the shores of Nigeria. I also want to say that there are so many women who are at the helm of affairs. Look at the banks today, you have women there. Look at me today. My governor just handpicked me and said, look, you need to come and be at the helm at the state-owned radio and television station. And I'm sure a lot is happening with women in different states. Let us start from where we are. There are women at the local levels. What are they doing at the local government? The women at the Senate, what are they doing? It's about doing what you can in your own little corner. And as we said, be sure to lift another woman up, beg your pardon. The men do that. They just spread their nets like that. They put them in key positions. Women need to begin to do that. And as I've said, they are collaborating now, and so much is going on. Before you know it, with time, we're going to get there. We're not there yet, but we're on the way, and we'll definitely get there.
Amazing. Let me bring the conversation to the studio. She said we are getting there. We have an agenda 2030 on gender equality and empowerment of women. That's just about 6 years away from now. This journey of we getting there, would we be able to get to that point where we say that we have gender equality and empowerment by that 2030? Do you see that happening with the pace at which we are moving?
We will get there. Maybe by 2030, maybe not. Maybe beyond 2030. But I think we will get there. I don't know of any other states, but I know that in Lagos State, we have had women as LG chairpersons who have really matched up with men, shoulder to shoulder. I mean, Akiyemi Obe of Aguda. Yeah. Even here in Ikosi, Simiat.
Bada.
Simiat Bada. And many other women like that I know that have done very well as LG chairpersons. And in politics, you have to grow up. You can't come from your bedroom or your sitting room and become a governor. No. It's not done that way. You have to learn the ropes, go through the routes, rise, move along the ladder. I expect now that we have had these women, and I'm not talking of women by appointment. I'm talking of women who have been achievers. The next election in this state, we should see a woman who has been a local person, government chairperson, become deputy governor, for instance, if not governor. Why not? Why not? We can do it. We can do it better than the men have done. Because
to support a mass the way they support the men.
It's about politics. If the woman plays her card well, and women are very good at lobbying. I hope you know that. It's just
how come we have not lobbied our way to get to the position?
If you don't start, you can't get there. You have to start. You have to say, I want to be, and then begin to move. And that's why I said the support of the men is crucial. You need to target them, address their mindset, say what you will do differently. And once they have that confidence in you and your records, I mean, you are talking of Jagaban today because of records in Lagos. Why won't the record of an LG chairperson in Lagos State be the reason why she should be governor? She is the same thing. Yeah. So you have to have a marketable record. It's not the one that you have been chairperson and there's nothing to show for it. But if you have made significant achievement, it's going to be difficult for all the men to gang up against you. It's impossible. Some are definitely going to support you. And from there, you begin to move. So somebody must help somebody.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Ify, there are so many maxims and proverbs supporting women. For instance, they say what a man can do, a woman can do better. They say women are the salt of the earth, et cetera, et cetera. You can.
Men are the salt of the earth.
Men too.
Men are. So, all of these. But then, what a man really can do, women actually have been doing better in terms of, talking about positivities, as well as the negative aspect of it. Recently, we trashed the issue of the scandals, rocking some of our representatives who are women, who are appointed, different ministries and all of that. How do you not think, or how do you feel this is affecting the role of pushing the woman to the fore burner?
I like to look at the positives. That's the truth. I don't want to be boxed in a corner. Because if you look at it from 1999 till date, you want me to give you the long list of men who have failed us? Now, when you have a handful of women, 1, 2, 3, that's what the men focus on, and they blow it up. I recently met with the deputy governor of Akwa Ibom State, and I was so impressed with a woman who's been in marriage for 46 years. Out of those 46 years, 33 years have been in politics. She's moved from the local level to becoming a former minister, and now she's the deputy governor. In my state, in Imo State, we have a deputy governor who's a woman. Of course, that's another woman because we had one. There are women who were commissioners in the last cabinet. Of course, the governor is reconstituting his cabinet, and I'm hoping that we get to see more women. So women are doing well. Let's stop talking about some of the women who have, failed in their responsibility. Because if we put it if we look at it with what it is that the men have done over the years, I'm not sure you want us to go down that lane, because it's not what we won't come out of that conversation this one. So I want to look at the positive. Let's look at the women who are giving very good accounts of themselves, and there are so many of them. If we want to list them, we won't live here today. So the positive for me, and I think women should begin to collaborate, encourage themselves, come out to say, look, we can do it. We have the numbers. When you talk about voting, you look at the long queues when we go out to cast our votes. It is the women that come out. They are the ones chanting behind the men to say, let's vote this person. But the time is now for women to take more elected positions, as we've been talking about this morning. It's beyond just bringing the woman, putting her there and say, look, you're just a figurehead. Women need to be on those tables where the decisions are being made, because issues that affect the world today are things that affect women and, of course, children.
All right, we must thank you, Ife Onyebule, Director General, Imo Broadcasting Corporation, as well as Funmi Komolafe, Journalist and Public Affairs Analyst, for your time on the program. Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you.